Hi guys, welcome back to another edition of Max and Nicky 1000th Time Reactions,
where we react to a song after listening to it for our 1000th time.
We release 3 videos a day,
every day.
So please hit that subscribe button
and turn on post notifications
so you don't miss out on all this great content.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to listen to right now, Nicky?
We're going to listen to Basket Case by Green Day.
Sure.
I remember when this came out.
Yeah.
I remember it just... We were in elementary school at the time, and I just remember it being played on the yard. This is a nostalgia. Anyway, we'll talk about it after.
We'll talk about it after we listen to
We've heard this song so many times for all intents and purposes. We're going to call it our 1000th time.
If you're new to the channel, what we like to do here is listen to the song all the way through without stopping.
So we don't disrupt the vision of the artist.
And then afterwards, we'll discuss in depth and analyze what we've heard.
Talk about our reactions.
That's right.
But before we do that, just want to remind you all, as we usually do, that we have another YouTube channel called Max and Nicky, which we perform oldies, tunes, jazz standards, and originals in that vein.
And we got comedy videos on there as well. Mm-hmm. But for right now, let's take a listen to Basket Case by Green Day.
Mm-hmm. For our 1000th time.
Here we go.
Do you have the time to listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once? I am one of those melodramatic fools, neurotic to the bone, no doubt about it. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Am I just up? I went to a shrink to analyze my dreams. She says it's like a sex that's bringing me down. I went to a whore. He said my life's a bore. Choke with my white cause it's bringing her down. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Grasping to control, so I better hold on. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Am I just
Interesting, at the very end, you can hear this voice at the very end of that.
Sure, it's... God, man, that really takes me back, that song, I just remember so much about it. Even when I remember our best friend growing up and I were on the phone with each other.
No, I was on the phone too.
Oh, and we were
trying to come up with alternative lyrics to this song.
We thought we were writing our own song by just basically writing alternate lyrics to this song.
Right.
And we were like basically writing lyrics to an established melody already, you know?
Sure.
And this was when we were kids. But gosh, I remember hearing this so much, you know, just on the yard, you know?
Sure. I mean, it was, yeah, I mean, what was that? I guess even in...
When this come out, 94?
I think this came out in 94. Yeah.
This was kind of like, Green Day really kind of sparked almost a revolution in sort of this pop punk style. You know, they kind of started this wave of pop punk bands, didn't they?
Yeah, I suppose they were kind of the start of it.
Now,
I mean, then you heard, you know, Offspring kind of came about after that.
Yeah,
and they were kind of considered part of their Blink-182.
But you know, I'm not as into those other bands, but Green Day I do like.
Sure,
you know,
sure,
Green Day,
yeah.
They were the ones to start it off, and they were kind of the only ones I really liked.
Particularly this album, actually, I think is really good.
This album is full of hits, you know.
Yeah,
When I Come Around, you know.
Sure.
Welcome to Paradise. Or is that on this album? Might be on there. That might have been Recess.
The album we're referring to is Dookie, by the way.
Right.
Which I think was their breakout album, right?
Sure. You know, they're from Berkeley, California, and
sure,
they were working very hard as a band for a while before they hit it big. But they were very just regimented and just they were really like just on top of everything, just making sure they rehearsed a lot, and they were
right.
Really
well,
good.
Apparently Trey Cool, before he joined, when they were auditioning him, he had trouble. They liked his fills and stuff, but he had trouble keeping, you know, a steady beat, actually. And so I think somebody, I forgot who said, like, just work with him. He'll be a good addition, and he became a great addition, you know.
Well, also, I think Trey Cool,
he worked hard to
make sure. I think Trey Cool's, like, I think he came from maybe a wealthier family, and they helped them, like, they were able to rehearse in space that...
I'm not sure if it was I don't know about his monetary background, but I know that his dad was very supportive of them and did allow them to, I think, rehearse at their place and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. But anyway, let's talk about the song.
Well, I will notice, you mentioned not keeping the tempo. I felt like it was rushing sometimes.
It did feel like it rushed a little.
I mean, I mean,
it's a really quick tempo.
What Billy Joe Armstrong is doing there, that's really hard to do consistently in time, you know? I wouldn't blame him if he got off a little bit sometimes, you know?
Well, it's not just, but as the drummer too, he's doing these fills and it's a pretty fast tempo. And so, yes, it might have sped up here and there.
But it's a real rockin' song.
It's a real rockin' song, and it does have that punk ethos. I mean, it's pop punk. I mean, 3 band members, you know, that's a real classic pop.
Although
punk,
I will say I did notice there was more than one guitar playing, you know. I mean, I think there was at a point there was a guitar in the middle and then there was guitar on the side.
Sure, but as a band though, there's
just 3.
Yeah, and there's no lead. I mean, it's kind of like the same. I mean, you could say Nirvana had an influence on that too, you know, obviously.
Just a trio.
As a trio. Sure. Although later on, Nirvana did add Pat Smear and wanted to. They're like, well, we need another person to round this out. Actually,
sure, yeah.
But
it's amazing the sound you can accomplish with just 3 people.
Yeah, I mean, he heavily distorted guitar, make it fat sounding, so it fills up the space. And then the bass, I think even the bass might be distorted too, actually, at times.
You know, but you just got these, pretty common chords. You know, what are these power chords that he's playing, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just, they're just, 1, 4, 5, 1, basically. Maybe 1, 4, 2, 5, 1.
Stuff going there.
Yeah.
No, yeah, anyway, no, more than 1, 4, 5, definitely. But I also noticed that,
I guess.
Billy Joe Armstrong, he has a particularly unique way of singing. He has this sort of nasally thing, zip that bye plays tricks on me.
Yeah, it almost sounds like his nose is
sounds like he has a cold a little bit, which is cool. I think it sounds good, But
It's
it kind of
unique.
reminds me that it makes me think that Gwen Stefani is kind of the female, or vice versa. She's the female Billie Joe Armstrong, and Billie Joe Armstrong is the male Gwen Stefani. Because
She also sings like that.
At least when in the '90s she sang like that. You could hear.
I'm just a
I'm just a girl living in captivity. She had this nasally thing. It's
Sure.
just kind of it's an interesting way of singing.
But it's a really catchy tune, and it's interesting. Even like when the background, the harmonies were coming in, they would come in, sometimes very briefly on the side here. It was on the left ear.
Only
and
only.
it
It
was
would just say
sometimes there were
sometimes my mind plays tricks on me.
it was just like two words that he would sing,
which is kind of cool, very effective.
Right.
And not only that, it seems like his lead vocal wasn't quite. I don't know. Am I incorrect, or is it just our headphones?
I felt like it wasn't right.
I feel like
in the
it wasn't
center either.
right in the center.
It was probably like
little
15
to
degrees to the left
the
or something.
well, maybe a little less than that. But then it became more centered.
Right.
I feel like a little bit later. No, am I incorrect?
I
about
don't know.
this?
I felt like that. That was the way I heard it too.
Yeah.
Tell
Anyway,
us what you think at home if you're listening with headphones. How are you hearing this? Do you hear Billie Joe Armstrong's vocals kind of not directly in the center, maybe a little bit to the left?
yeah. I mean, or is it just maybe there's something up? We're using a splitter right now on our headphones, so we can both listen at the same time. And I'm wondering if that has anything to do with it, but I don't think so. Let
don't
us
think
know
so.
what you think. Anyway, again, this is a great song. Very hummable. I mean, obviously, we were into it a lot in elementary school, and so much so that we started
It's
creating
funny,
alternate
'cause
lyrics to it.
on a previous video, we talked about how bossa nova music was the first kind of music we admitted to liking, besides video game music. But we did like this. We liked this music in elementary school when
This
we were
was,
young.
Yeah, I admitted to like it was kind of. I'm talking about admitted to the masses.
Sure. I
in-
think maybe it was our older brother who kind of...
No, but he liked this. He liked this.
Sure,
unbeknownst to us, though. I
Sure,
think.
yeah.
But anyway,
Great song. I think that'll do it for this reaction video. If you like what you heard and saw today, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications to find out about more Max and Nicky reaction videos.
please keep tuning in.